are bad guys, and there are worse guys, and nothing else.
Welcome back. It's another episode from the Critics Collective. I'm the Dad Panther, writer, streamer, content creator, master of none. And we've got the gang back together, but this time it's a little different. We're going to do Thunderbolts, but we're going to spoil the hell out of it. So if you have not seen the new Marvel movie, Thunderbolts, asterisk, get the hell on. Just go. But before you go, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, follow. The road to 1 million continues. And all we ask is, hey, just check us out. 3 minutes. Let us know in the comments what we should be watching, because it's probably what you're watching. Now, with that being said, I'm here with Manny, Maite, and Corey as we get ready to do this. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
All right, good. Because if anybody in here says no and they're not feeling good, I don't know how any of us would react to that. So, with that being well, I mean, because here at the Critics Collective, we care about mental health. And with that being said, maybe that's just me. I'm kind of hinting where I'm going to go with this discussion. Mental health and mental health awareness and all that other stuff is very important. So make sure you check on the people you care about, see if they're all right. And let's go ahead and get into it. So, Manny, I'm going to have you start this off. I felt like this movie had 2 acts, Act 1, Act 2. When this started off, let us know kind of your thoughts and the opening credit scene and that big start is how this movie went
on. So isn't it Mental Awareness Month anyway?
Oh, is it? Somebody check that, because if it did, Marvel and Disney, they cooking. That was intentional. I didn't think of that. That was
It is May 1st to May 31st.
Oh, snap. That's a big Easter egg right there. Damn, we should have known. Okay, Marvel.
Well, they do focus. Well, the somewhat villain of the movie.
Okay, but like, how do you feel about the intro and the opening?
All right. So
about it, gang.
As far as the intro goes, with the whole monologue, that what's her name again? Yelena was going through, diving off the skyscraper. I didn't really feel much about it. As far as it goes, from my understanding, she actually did that skydiving herself. It was in the green screen. Yeah, she actually asked Kevin Feige to do the skydiving herself. Pretty much the intro, typical Marvel comedy. You know, when she's in that lab joking after killing all these people, tie up this guy and just laying out all her, again, emotional, I guess, again, mental health awareness month. She was basically using that hostage as a psychiatrist.
I think my thing knows what I was gonna say, but I'm not.
Manny, you be so unhinged.
What?
You be so unhinged. mental health awareness.
Like, I was like, yo,
you brought it up.
I'll stop doing that. But
he's not.
Yeah.
Continue.
But again, pretty much it started off on a good turn as far as, you know, the whole movie goes. So that's it.
Okay, so as the movie transitions to where I think it starts the meat of it, which is them in this underground facility, and it seems like this individual, you know, Bob, is just, he seems like he's a child. He seems like, hey, you know, he just wants to sit here. He doesn't want to be in trouble. He doesn't want to mess with anybody. And he starts this long conversation with, I like to think, the main character. So these 2 main characters are talking about their feelings. They're talking about the void and what do you do with that and how does it feel? Did you guys have a sense of anything? Did you guys kind of felt like, okay, this is where we're going to go?
My only sense, because I've read most of the comic with Blue Marvel, you know, Sentry, the Void. Because every time he would get the hint, I'm watching with my friend. I'm like, bumping. I'm like, yo, this is what he's gonna say, the Void. And he said, my friend's like looking at me like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Because I knew what was gonna happen. But I was pretty much excited knowing about the character. Funny fact: the actor Louis Pullman, he didn't want to be named Bob in this film. because he was named Bob in another film, Top Gun. His name was Bob.
You're
So
right.
he
Damn.
didn't want to name Bob. But as again, I'm not going to do a quote. Again, it all goes back to mental health. There was a lot of scene where it was like leading with people dealing with. I'm saying.
He's like,
I'm not gonna go back again with mental health.
Mental.
Yo, man, he's a fucking boomer on the mic. Just you need to get by the bootstraps and buy a home and do some
Shit,
stuff.
we lost Corey. We lost Corey.
You triggered him.
You did. We tried to go out
He's
here
like,
with a
man,
trigger warning. We're like, let's take.
Did you ask if he's okay?
Yeah, you just.
You over here mental health. He's just
Damn,
like,
Manny. Damn. Okay. So at some point they transition to what I think is, I felt like in the plot, it was just kind of to move them along. It's like, hey, how do we get up this long tube and let's just do this? We don't have anything else. We'll joke about the fact that no one can fly and we'll go up here. But as we're doing this, they're setting the pieces on the outside. It's really the first time you get a chance to see Bucky and his 9-to-5 job. You're also able to see what some people will say is the main villain or the co-villain in this one, kind of show her head and show that, hey, this is her influence and her power. At the same time, there's an investigation that's going on. It kind of felt like Superman versus Batman, where it's this trial kind of thing going on. Did that do anything for anybody here?
My only thing is, why did they make Bucky wasn't he like a terrorist? So I understand.
America.
Yeah, how he became, he was like a secret Soviet assassin. Now he's a U.S. congressman. I don't know what more.
It just shows how you can be that, and then
hey, you could make it anywhere in America.
Everybody's forgiven.
America is the way you can do it, you know. But I felt like the case against her was kind of just like unnecessary because we didn't really dive into it. Like after it opens up the story to like her burning everything in that one room, but that's all it provided. After that, it was just like kind of like out of my mind. Like I forgot about it.
Exactly.
So it was like, what's the point? But you know, I get it. Whatever. But this what's something else we were talking about? Because I got kicked out for a second.
Oh, the other when they were going up the tunnel, just the everything from before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it is definitely a movie about mental health because when she was doing a little monologue in the beginning, I kind of felt that it was just like you just kind of going through everyday life and just like, what's your purpose?
Mm-hmm,
like you get that. Like when I was just working a regular job, I was just like, what am I doing? You have like you don't feel fulfilled at all, and it's just like you want to do more, but you're not sure what that is. So I definitely felt that. Wasn't then the void that was just like a whole. You go down to a dark.
It got deep.
Void, yeah.
It got deep because again, they're in the bottom of this prison already.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "What does it feel like?" It feels like, and she didn't know the words, but when he says the void,
yeah,
you can see them linked together, and he gets confirmation of it is a void. Yeah. And then as the viewer, I started thinking about, it's a void. Like, what do you fill that with? What hobbies? Good, bad hobbies? Like everybody watching this has some type of void, good or bad, and we feel something. I'm like, I think we in for a ride. I don't think it's going to be the traditional, summer blockbuster type of vibe on this one, or spring blockbuster. Yeah. For that character, like you said before, I felt like you had to see other movies of her doing her deals with technology and people with abilities to understand the trial. Because without it, there's no information on who she is. It's your first time watching this character. You're like, what's she going to trial for? Mm-hmm. You'd have to see all the little Easter eggs and all the Disney Plus references and everything like that to be like, oh, okay, she kind of do some stuff.
Yeah, she was mostly in like end credit scenes though, right?
Yeah, and Black Widow,
Agatha all the way.
Agatha all along.
Oh, she wasn't in that. There you go. She wasn't.
No, she was in Black Widow.
Oh, okay, there you go.
She was like the end.
Yeah, and the Bucky and Sam and Bucky. I think she wasn't.
Sam Wilson.
Yeah. I think.
But
oh
I
yeah,
did want to
she
say
had to get a
something
US
about
agent.
the intro, like the mental health. I feel like
Go
it
for
set the tone for the movie because I know how in the spoiler free we talked about how we didn't get too much of the other perspectives, just like little Easter eggs, like when they were in the void. But I think Yelena, she's like the group, like kind of like there's always one person that's like the glue of the group. So like if something were to happen to them, it's like so devastating. Hopefully nothing ever happens to her, but because I think she's like my favorite so far, like out of everybody right now.
Okay.
But her, like, I feel like it's more her connection, you know, her mental health going through everything with, you know, her sister dying, and then she has to be the one to connect with Bob. And her and Bob have that connection. Like, you know, it's like when you're going through stuff and you really meet people who really understand you, or they might not be going through the same thing, but something similar. It just shows that you really do need that human connection.
Okay. So after that,
Hawkeye.
what happened? What?
She did that in Hawkeye with
Oh, she did. Yeah.
With was it Haley Stanford?
Yeah. Haley was in that for the co-star.
Yeah. And she did that in that film too. Well, series.
Yeah, so I think it does continue those feelings and building up, because shortly after that, when they make their way up, they're at this gate and they're trying to figure out who's going to be the leader of all this. Like they go through the debacle of trying to say that, hey, this new wannabe Captain America thinks about himself and says, no, I did a tactical thing. And now they're kind of humorously joking over who's going to be in charge. And it goes to what Maite was saying, was this is kind of unconventional to sit there and say, okay, this one who doesn't want to be in charge looks like the one who's going to be in charge. And even that scene, how they couldn't get the power going, they're trying to get the door open, and those fight scenes, those waves that are coming in. What'd you guys think about that, where they put together that story, but at the same time, you're starting to get your second round of action?
It was funny because it's like it's showing that they're not like that typical group of people that have their shit together. They're like that they're just so in sync. Okay, here, you know, you're used to seeing like fight scenes being so in sync, and they're just all over the place. They have that power dynamic. So it's funny to see. It still works out in a certain way, but it's just, you really see their personalities, you know, go together. It's really funny. I enjoyed it. Plus the action with it. I feel like we're going to get more from them, hopefully, but it is just the initial. Because, I mean, if they're just like all in sync, then you don't see their dynamic grow as a group.
Yeah. Anybody else see anything in that scene? Sitting there killing the power, getting to that gate?
I found it funny. Go ahead, Paul. Oh no, I just thought it was funny when she called him the dime store Captain America.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, they're roasting him up.
I was like, yo, she's right. But and then let me just go back a little bit. How they just popped Taskmaster or Taskmaster-esque in the very beginning of the movie, and she's on the posters.
Yes.
I was just like, oh, I thought maybe she was like okay under the mask, like she was knocked out. But no, that was blood. She's done. So I'm just like, why'd you advertise her on the posters?
I don't know. Somebody's contract fell through.
Yeah, that was one of my lows of the film. Like, why put her in the poster just to kill her? Like, a few minutes she shows up.
You know, it's given Finn on the Star Wars posters, where he had the lightsaber, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be some. And then you watch the movie, you're like,
what is this?
Yeah, we're not doing this. You lie.
I think it's probably their like Suicide Squad-ish, because in the comic, the Thunderbolts, other characters joined that team, like Red Hulk and Hulkin and a bunch of other people joined this team. So we'll see what happens as far as the team goes. So
I think they'll bring in the actual Taskmaster, like the dude that like actually memorizes people's moves and all that, to mimic them. Because she was like kind of like a drone a little bit, right?
Yeah, she felt kind of lifeless a little bit.
Yeah, so I feel like they're opening the door for the actual Taskmaster to come through and do his thing.
Okay, so the gate opens up. They're sitting there. The fight basically it's kind of like, I don't want to say Ocean's 11, but they're trying to sneak through. They do a good job, sneaking through, changing some stuff, some elements, using their abilities, their power. And you watch the dollar value rent cop Captain America sit there and like, I'm not going to tell you who I am. And the plan falls apart. And Bob, who's trying to help constantly each time, he just wants to help. He's putting his life on the line. And that whole scene plays out. He's looking like, so what'd you guys think of them getting you to that part to make you feel some kind of way? Was it too soon? Did you feel connected?
It was not too soon.
Yeah, it was perfect. It kind of felt like well, he's like he is like the Superman of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like they took parts from Flashpoint. What was it? The Flash Paradox? Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they found Superman, he came out and they shot him with bullets. That whole scene, it played just like that. And I was like, okay, cool. But him shooting up, then just like then passing out because of the powers he's using because he's not used to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like it played very well for the film. So,
anybody else think anything?
Help. I knew obviously I didn't read the comics or anything, so I'm just going with whatever they're showing me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm like I didn't know what his powers was gonna be, but obviously I kind of had an idea based on like the little Easter eggs and just like the papers that they showed us, and then just seeing like his eyes glow. I'm like, oh, he's probably like a little kind of like a Superman. That's what I took it as. And then they showed his powers. I'm like, okay, yeah, basically. But he just wanted to help. Like, it's like, it just shows like him, how, unstable he is in the sense of like, he's been through a lot. And then, he can't really help, but he still wants to help, even if he might die for it. And he literally like, he doesn't know his own power. So he probably didn't know what was going to happen. Probably thought he was going to die. And then.
But do you guys think it was annoying or frustrating? Because I was in a theater that had a good size in it, and there were some people who were just aggravated that he wanted to help, to the point where, remember, she had to tie him to her back with the hose, and he doesn't know how to use the gun. They're like, oh my gosh. And he wanted to help, and she's trying to tell him, it's like, he's not a kid. Why are you talking to him like he's a kid? I'm like, well, some people.
I related to Bob because I'd be wanting to help, even if I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do and I'll try to do it. But like, so I felt him in that moment feeling helpless. You don't know how you could help, but you could help. So I'm like, for me, I related to him. I could see the frustration, and it's like, ugh, he ain't shit. Like, what the fuck? Just stay back, let them do their thing. So I get it.
And it's sad because if you go back to the review that we did a deep dive discussion on, I think it was episode 2 of This Is Us. Some motherfuckers run and they just leave you with a flamethrower when you need help. So the fact that he wanted to help and risk his life, like literally risked his life. I mean, you don't find people like that. So at this point, they make it off the mountain. You find out, and the second villain kind of finds out, okay, the serum worked. Sentry program worked. Let's get marketing. Let's get that building, Easter egg to the old building. Let's get all this stuff moving together. And then they're in the middle of the desert. And who comes to save them? No other than Red Guardian in this fucking red limousine, busted with a digital dash like it's 1980 something. And he's sitting there like, hey, they're trying to hide. And then because yelling over the Sierra Desert. And so it switched it from this sad moment of almost like an angel falling from the sky to the comedy that this kind of played every now and then. What was your take on that whole introduction to him joining the gang again?
So as far as I want to go back to something Monte said, as far as Yelena being the glue of the team, I felt like Red Guardian was somewhat of the glue of the team because he was always optimistic about everything. And I was scared about him being optimistic so much. I thought he was going to die at some point. I thought they were going to kill him. Especially when he saved that little girl. Damn, that's his moment. He's about to die. But they killed the little girl. before I knew what the void like actually was, I was like, damn, Marvel actually killed a little girl on screen.
Yo,
Rated R.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
Oh, with the
Hey,
void.
we asked for ID when you came in.
Like,
I was like, wait, this
damn.
supposed to be PG-13. It's a rated R move right here.
I just saw it. Poof. I was like,
But
Oh,
even at the beginning of the film, when he was home watching old footage of himself in the Soviet Union, you could see that he's also struggling with, some type of, self fulfillment. And it seemed like it's pretty much like the gist with every character. Like they're struggling with something that they don't want to talk about. Again, go back to, I'm gonna stop doing the face, but go back to mental health and
that's no different. That's no different. Like, hey, listen, I don't want to be racist, but let me just say, I mean, it just because we all saw it in your body. Like, there was one time you said something before this, and my thing was like, "Oh, it was close." And then you were like, "Shoulder." I'm like, "He's about to say something. He's about to say something." But we get it. Like, there's a lot of this film. Yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna take a deep breath.
You take a note.
No. To tell you the truth, like I understand where you're coming because I've dealt with it before, where you struggle with something and it's hard to talk about it, not knowing, if you're gonna get the type of help or open up to anybody close to you, which what Yelena was somewhat dealing with, and he was dealing with. Even Dollar Store Captain America, like losing his family and not wanting, basically lying about everything being great and not wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, that's
I think the only person I believe they didn't pretty much go into detail as far as dealing with some type of struggle was Ghost.
Yeah.
And Bucky, because Bucky said he had a great past, so he had nothing to worry about. So
no, I think he was being sarcastic in that. I think there's enough movies to show his scene, and he was like, "Hey, I'm pretty clean," and everybody, the viewers, they knew it wasn't. Now,
yeah, but Red Guardian pretty much stole every scene he was in. He was very optimistic, and David Harbour is a great actor, first of all. But him showing up, first of all, how did he was able to track them where they were in the desert? That's one thing. He knew.
Yeah.
Like, remember the limo part?
But they already left the base. They're in the middle of the desert. Like, how do you that's my whole thing. How do you know? Like,
don't think about it too much.
Nah.
Yeah, it's just like them climbing up how many how many floors back to back up that tunnel. Yeah. Nobody's asking. They faded back, came back, they out. We're not gonna ask no questions. We're not gonna ask no questions. Now the red. Now I feel like the Red Guardian. If you didn't go see, I don't know if we did a review for it, but if you check the second season of What If, there's a great episode with him in it, and this is him just being him. Like he doesn't turn off this personality. So if you love more of Red Guardian, check that episode out. It is entertaining in its own. So they're in this red limo. They're riding down the street. And here goes 3 vehicles, and he's sitting there saying, "Hey, look, I got some switches," and he pops some switches that turns it into a party limo. I was scared at first. What?
We got pauses. You jumping too fast.
What I miss?
Corey.
No, I said I need to talk about this scene because when Bucky came through, straight Terminator vibes.
Yeah, that's what
I was just like, if this ain't T2 to like,
he was nonchalant with it.
Yeah,
he was.
He was like,
it was a cool little sequence, but definitely that was T2.
But I was concerned at a part where he flips the switch before Bucky pulls up. He flips the switch, and then a disco light starts playing. The music, genuine, jump on it. And the theater was kind of moving for the first time, coming alive. Like they were like, "All right, let's do this." And then I'm assuming it was a fog machine was putting out fog. I was concerned because I thought it was a dark joke. Like you get some ladies or some people in the back, and then you done knocked them out. I'm like, what are they doing? So I'm glad it kind of switched. It wasn't long enough. I'm just keeping it real. I'm a cynical person.
Why would Red Guardian do that?
Hey, listen, the times are hard. He's trying to make some money. He's got a limo service. Said he got a phone number on the side. I'm just saying times are hard. But you got these 3 vehicles that pop up, and everyone's trying to use their abilities, and they can't. And so, like what Corey was saying, here comes the superhero to save the day. But yeah, he does it in a very chill way. What'd you guys think of that action sequence that was kind of remnants of Terminator?
I mean, that's just Bucky. That whole the scenario for him is like that's easy work. You think about the type of missions he's going on, the people he's fought. That's just probably like the light. That's like a walk in the park for him. So
You're right.
of course he's going to stay chill in the scenario, especially you got the gun with the what's that, the magnetic bombs on there, and then he got the strength to with the super soldier serum. So that shit was easy for him.
I'm gonna speak for all the women that like when he like wrapped the thing, that hook around his hand and just on the ground, and then that car flipped over. That was very.
That was unnecessary.
You know what? I'm glad.
Okay, yeah, that was for the girls.
It's not just Manny. And if it's for the ladies, that's fine. But I was sitting there saying, I know the hell he's not going to just say fuck physics. Physics. I'm like, okay, all right.
Could have shot the tires and get over.
He's got a vibranium arm. You can do some stuff.
Yeah. I ain't mad at it, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Just mind your business. That's all.
Anyway,
it was a waste of time. Could have shot the tire instead of having to stop trying to look cool for the ladies. Shoot the tire, keep it moving.
Okay, so
my two basic sense, you got a little warm.
And that's fine. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know.
Oh my.
So as we move out of the desert, and it seems like it segues into a place that is not as dry. As we move out of the desert, there's a move where you see what I'm saying? So
keep going.
But I'll even go back a little bit. The part where they're cheering and they're like, "Yeah, Bucky saved us. It's a real hero, and we're just a bunch of flunkies." And then I thought it was perfect comedic timing to sit there. I'm like, "No, fuck y'all too," because the theater the theater had no clue that was gonna happen. They're like, "Yeah," and then boom, they're like, oh shit, so who's up, who's down, who's the good guy, what's going on? And so now they're in this warehouse tied together, which I thought was interesting because two of them have like super strength. And so you put the same bar that you wrapped around them, like they couldn't get out of it. But I'm like, all right, we got to get the story together. And they have this.
They had that iron rod around them too. They like just not the rope, but they had an iron rod wrapped around them.
But don't they both have super strength? All three of them?
Yeah, but they were also their arms were. He had them tied to like their arms.
Okay, so too many ties, you can't move. Okay, gotcha.
You know what?
Don't think about
that writing for the plot again. I'm just saying.
I'm putting it out there. I'm just sprinkling. That's the third one. I'm just sprinkling.
I don't want to jump ahead because there's another scene. If you guys
so for that scene where they're sitting there having the conversation and they're sitting there saying, "Hey, look, here's the plot. Here's what's going on. Help us out." And he gets that phone call and drives it to that next part. Was there anything out of that you guys want to speak on? Did you think it was a good way to move the plot? Did you think it was lazy on it? Did you?
It's for group dynamic, I think, because I feel like it shows that you would think ideally Bucky's going to be the leader, but it kind of goes to show like he is not really the leader because he's not listening to the group. And so I feel like it kind of goes to show like, okay, you see this group is going to be put together somehow. They're going to stick together, but you're kind of playing as to, okay, what's going to be the dynamic? Because you know it's going to be a new group. So that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Okay. As you move forward in the story, now you're finding out that trial that they talked about, the trial of the century, is not going to happen. And you have the assistant who's pulled in two ways. She's obviously talking to Bucky. She's talking to her boss. And she wants to do the right thing. She wants to help humanity and still bring up technology. But now at this point, Sentry, or Bob, is now back into her custody at a famous building. And they're sitting there talking about what they're going to do. The branding team's there. She's sitting down, she's talking, and she's like, I know everything about you. And you start to see how this plays on how someone thinks. Did that change the narrative of what we've been seeing so far? Or do you think that fits into what this movie has been given already as she's coming in here, kind of like a puppeteer?
It fits the vibe of who she is. Because since her intro into the MCU, you see she's like playing on these people's I guess emotions and their vulnerability and just pulling them onto this team. So that played like her paying on him wanting to be helpful, because deep in his core he wants to be helpful because he grew up like you make everything worse, you're useless pretty much. And then a person coming to him like a mother type figure saying, you know, you could be helpful, you could be this, that, third. And I gave him like a little bit of hope, like being something bigger than what he is. So it
Okay.
definitely played into the aspect of the movie in itself. So
Okay. Now, as it continues, we don't get the traditional montage of him working on his abilities.
yeah,
Okay. Do you think we were cheated by not seeing that? Do you think that do you think you're like, hey, we've seen it already, we're just gonna assume it's some Superman-ish type thing? Or because the next time we see him, where we're getting into really that second act, we're in that second act is at the point where Bucky and the crew, the Thunderbolts, because it was a soccer team that she was a part of when she was a little kid, and it was sponsored by the Critic Collective, where one girl apparently pooped live at a game. I mean, their words, not mine. Did you think we were cheated not being able to see his abilities and him learning it?
Not at all.
No, I
You
think
know
because he
what?
still doesn't know. He's still learning as he
Nah,
goes.
because he got it like that. Like he was
Yeah.
able to, because they only show you that one scene where he's boiling water. That was
Mhm.
it. Which is why I thought again they killed that little girl because
Yeah.
he was able to boil water.
Was it boiling water? That was boiling water, or was
It was
telekinesis?
boiling
He was
water.
boiling. He was doing both. He was able to move it, and then at some point you could see the bubbles pick up, and it
Oh,
started getting hot, and then it shattered. So it could have been two or
okay.
three little elements, but it's just so we've
Yeah.
seen him fly, we've seen him not take damage, and then now you'll be able to see him move things and do that. You've already seen parts of the void where he bumps into great value Captain America, and you
Yeah.
saw that. So
Yeah.
all
I
right.
feel like the telekinesis is
I don't
just
know if it
is
was me, but
too
throughout
much.
watching the movie, every time something would happen with Bob, as far as emotionally, you could see. I don't know if it was me, but you could see a little bit of his eye, like it was like a little darker
Mhm.
Yeah.
throughout the
It's,
film.
it's like
So
that yellow ring will pop up around his eyes a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Mhm.
no, I was saying like if something negative happened, you see it, and so like it would like around his eye, like eyeshadow
Go
is like
get darker.
dark. Yeah,
Oh, okay. No,
I
I
didn't
didn't.
really
I didn't
notice.
know. I didn't notice that part.
I'll
Yeah.
see. I'll check.
Oh,
I noticed
I see what you're
the
saying.
eye glow a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
I just thought
glow.
it was power.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like a Superman with telekinesis is just OP. Like, come on. Like you can move me with your mind and then punch a hole through me at the same time. Oh,
Yeah.
come on. You're doing too
Yeah.
much. I
That's
mean,
kind of OP.
yeah. That little sequence when they was all going at it was dope though.
Okay, so they get in this van. That's like, hey, what's the plan? There is no plan. And Red Guardian loves it. He's hyped. He believes they should be a team. They already have a leader that's picked. Red Guardian is basically the dad of the group, and we get that cemented in as they talk later on. But point blank, they pull up to this place, kick the door down. You get this fight scene that happens, and then it's basically it's not necessarily a trap, but it's like it's a part of her plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, she's like, hey, the door is open. And so now they go up to this room and they're ready to arrest the person. And just I felt like I'm like, man, the movie can't just end now. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want it to be too long, but I just feel like there's nothing that we're given if this is it. She goes to court. So what Corey mentioned was that fight scene that happened. What did you guys take from that fight scene? Like as you're sitting there experiencing that fight scene, you're seeing this ability. He's got the brand new drip on. What was your thought process?
This is where we need characters like Blue Marvel to start coming into the MCU. And I say
To
that
humble his
because
ass.
yeah, but I say that it's possible because with the Isaiah Thomas character, how they just like made him Captain America and then took him for studies,
Mhm.
and then with Blue Marvel, he wore a mask at first, but when somebody found out he black, he's like, no, you gotta
Yes.
chill,
Yeah, you
and
gotta go.
he went into hiding in his little base. So he ages very slowly. So this can be a way to intro him back into the world and like have what's his name, the guy from Ant-Man, the dad from Ant-Man, Hank Pym
Mm-hmm.
can talk. He can like basically he's like, yeah, I remember him. I never really talking about him, but You know, I remember him when he was in action, he was dope, but we had, you know, America wasn't really rocking with a black superhero. So I feel like like now that we have Sentry at such like a high pinnacle of power, we can bring in people like Blue Marvel into the universe and like get his origin story out the way. Because I'm there first day.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I'm seeing it all week, every day. We get the ticket. But yeah, that's what I took away from it.
Okay. Anybody else in that fight scene?
No. First of all, when I heard that Sentry was going, I wanted highly hoping that they bring Blue Marvel in. I don't know if he's going to be stronger than Sentry, because I think the Void is stronger than all of them put together as far as it goes. But that as far as the fight scene goes, I was okay with it, but it's just I don't like when Marvel they always have to, when they have like characters who are not that powerful, they always have to have like a villain who's like OP they have to fight. I don't like that all the time. They don't have to do that all the time. You know, like you have these normal, not somewhat normal heroes versus like an OP villain. Like, you know, they have to. I would prefer like a fight where they're fighting people they're at their level, but it's somewhat difficult to win, something like that. But other than that, the fight scene, I didn't have no issue with it as far as it goes. That was like my main issue. It's like they always have to fight somebody so OP all the time. They could save that like towards the grand finale of like when the Avengers meet up or something, but it doesn't have to be all the time. Every film, somebody's OP.
Okay. All right, Maite, what did you take from the fighting scene?
I feel like my thing, it shows how OP he is, but also it shows like there is a clear flaw. Like there's, you know, I guess the power imbalance, because, you know, all they're very more of I want to say tactical fighting, but you know, they all fight with guns. You know, when they're in the van just getting there, they were all, oh, this is my weapons, this is my guns. Like versus like, and even where they're like, we don't have anybody that can fly, we don't have anybody with certain powers. Like, no, we only can fight and shoot people. So it's like, I feel like it shows like all of them are all kind of, they're lacking something in there. They're lacking a lot because, you know, even in other groups in Marvel where you see there's people that they are the point and shoots and the fighters, but there's also people that have the powers too, and we haven't gotten that. We don't have that now.
Okay. I go back to kind of with that where they're in the van or the truck and they're going over the gun and he's like, I got the long barrel and it's thick, it's wide. And she's like, so you like that? That's working for you? Yeah, it's working. And he's not reading the room as two women are saying like, size, you really, that's makes you a better man than what we're doing. And they're like, oh, how you feel about the mask? And you like the mat? Yeah, I like it. You like the hat? And it's like,
how you like the hat? He's like the helmet.
He's like, the helmet is like, call it what you want. Call it. What do you want to call it? Like, I'm like, making this man feel so, he about to take a blue chew. Like, you just, my goodness. And then they fold his shit like a taco. And and he got, and they didn't fix that motherfucker either. That's a humbling experience. To be like, hey.
In the end, when he's on top of it.
Yes.
In the picture.
So we're sitting there. And this fight scene for me, what I picked up from it, I thought it was smooth with special effects. There's not much that's going on. The budget's probably under $200 million for it, so I ain't mad at it. But it also made me think two things. One, it is so hard to pull off a Superman-esque movie. Whether it's Sentry, Blue Marvel, Captain Marvel, it's hard to showcase mortals near someone who seems immortal. And I understand why you don't even see video games with Superman and stuff like that. The other thing I took from it was Marvel has in their phases introduced hand-to-hand combat and superheroes around the world and then magic. And now this phase is really supposed to continue the conversation of magic, but also space. It added that power scale. Like we were all talking about OP characters, and it's like it made you think about Blue Marvel and Captain Marvel and Mystic Marvel, who was with Captain Marvel in the name, but I can't. Monica
Monica Rambeau.
Rambo.
Yes, Monica Beautiful. All those different abilities, and you're sitting there saying like they're not on the same level as some of the favorite characters that we grew up with. And so if they go down this road with Doom and all this other stuff, you're like, damn, Dr. Doom hadn't even, you don't even know his power scale and the stuff. If you're not reading it, that's what I took from the fight scene, that it was almost their way of saying, are these your kings? Are these the people that you look up to? You plaster them on your wall and they're nowhere near the power cap that we're about to take you on this phase. So that's what I took from it. Now, when they keep moving on to it, it starts switching to the part where you start to see that with this power comes great responsibility, as she needs that kill switch, because just like that, he's already thinking about the dark side. Do you think it was too soon to go that route? Do you think the timing was good for it because there's a bigger story that's going in the future of Marvel, or you wanted him to be this figuring stuff out before he made that switch?
Well, they already kind of like the assistant was like hinting that he already had like some type, especially with his background, drug abuse. He already had that mental issue, and now that he has all that power, he had the moment of grandeur, like thinking he's a god. So it was kind of hinted that he was heading in that direction, with the assistant constantly warning her that he's unstable. So didn't really. I would have preferred that something would have happened, like instead of him having that moment of grandeur with the power, just something negative happened exactly, and he transformed into the void instead of the whole kill switch. But other than that was it.
Okay. Anybody else on the switch over, kill switch, becoming the void?
I mean, it was necessary for the plot because it was like we already seen them get whooped by Sentry, and there's that they'd go up there again. It's going to happen again. So they needed somebody, needed some type of vulnerability to get inside of his head and bring him back, or bring Bob back to the forefront. So it was for the plot, it was good, but I do feel like maybe it was a little soon. Um, but what can you do?
All right.
Like nobody was coming to beat him at all.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I felt the same thing. I felt like you just had to do it to push the narrative. And I didn't look at it as a negative way to push the plot. I just looked at it as, hey, look, I think they've showed us what can happen. And now it's time for this character to evolve because it continues the bigger story in this phase that they're trying to do. Now, at this point, the whole court hearing is done. I don't even know why they brought it to begin with, because it's never really brought back up for the rest of the movie. And you're seeing these heroes step up in the void's, I guess, action of, hey, I want everybody to feel the way I feel. I want to bring you into my world. And you're seeing at the same time that deep conversation between basically a dad and his daughter.
Yeah.
And what that meant. Like, I needed you now, and I haven't had anybody for a year. I've been by myself. Do you think that took the air out of the movie?
No.
Because we really don't have that many movies with this kind of deep conversation.
Like it was like it was relatable, like especially like to want to have, not just from your dad, but just like any parent or parent figure, when you're going through stuff, and then they're also going through their own, especially like the loss of Black Widow. It was there's her sister and then Red Guardian's daughter, so it's like they're both grieving the loss but not coming together, and she's like, you should have been there, and he wasn't there, and it just that necessary moment that I feel like it was from the beginning showing that she was lonely, she was missing something, that purpose, and I feel like she needed to hear that. They needed to clear that out because he was also going through it too, and you can see his pain seeing her in pain. And I feel like it was very necessary to really get her to, like, especially with what came right after, like when it came to her going into like the void part, like I feel like after having that conversation with her dad, it kind of gave her that clarity versus like she was going into it with, fully accepting what might come from that. but also knowing that she had something to accomplish.
Yeah.
Versus like, I feel like if she didn't have that talk, it probably would have been like more like she was just doing it just to do it, you know.
Okay. All right. So at this point now they're in the void. This is towards the end of the movie. It's really wrapping it up. And this is really the main villain that we're going against. We're in this void. What did you guys think of their artistic approach to the void that felt like Inception mixed with some other elements that we've seen before in sci-fi or superhero movies, and some kind of triggering situations that some of us can, I don't want to say we've been there before, but some of us have been there and know somebody who's been through it. What do you guys think of that battle, a different kind of battle?
I liked it. It's interesting. Kind of, it was like Inception vibes. Like you're going from, you know, reality to reality, I guess, because it's not really a dream. It's their past. So it was really interesting. I wish we've kind of got more into everybody else's experience in the void versus just Yelena and Bob's. Just to kind of see like how they handled it, because they all got to a certain part. How do they all get to the same room? You know, I wanted to see how their little journey was, because it's like, how did you know where to go? You know, so that kind of also would have explained the void a little bit more, because I was like, they play at it before he even gets dark, or when they touch him, and then they're like in this memory, and then they're like, what happened? And he's like, what? So it's like, for me, it was kind of like, what's going on? And even with the void part, I'm like, I understood it, but also I needed a little bit more clarity. So I guess maybe from getting the other perspectives would have gotten a little bit more clarity into the void's power for me, just because I don't know too much of it.
I agree.
Okay.
So, as like you said, Ron, I agree. It felt like Inception as far as when they entered the void, the whole that part of the scene, them jumping screen to screen. One part that made me laugh was when they were fighting him when he was wearing that chicken costume. Like, I was on meth.
Yeah, that was wild. And he's over there spinning that sign, and they gotta.
But go back to that scene towards the end when they're finally able to help him, and they're basically fighting the void, and they're trying to help him when he's reaching that breaking point, which is why I want to bring up that scene when Bucky had them all wrapped up in the metal, which don't make a damn sense. I know it was for the plot, again, Marvel writing, because how are they able? Red Guardian was able to break through that big ass, I don't know, metal structure, but they couldn't break to the metal part, this little metal bar, and they all have the same strength.
I don't think they wanted to escape though. I don't think when they initially got caught by Bucky, they know Bucky. Why are they trying to escape him?
Nah.
Like, I feel like they were trying to talk reason into him. They're just like, because if they try to escape and they're trying to speak reason into him, all that reasoning they were trying to speak is going to go out the door the moment they try to escape. So they kind of just had to just be at his mercy until he got it together. That's how I took it in the beginning part.
Yeah. It's like a dream space. Physics don't work the same.
That too.
So
how many times you in a dream and you running and you just can't move and you can't swim, you can't whatever, and it's like, I'm in a dream.
And he was also distracted too. Like, he was fighting the void. I feel like he wasn't really paying attention too much as to that. So maybe they were to break through. Manny's like, man, fuck that.
That's still bullshit. They could have broken through the wire.
See, Manny's already been telling us there's no spoiler needed for Manny. He already told us what he felt. So at some point, the void and the main character, Bob, is kind of going through it. And you're seeing this void slowly but surely take over Bob. And you're thinking in your head, how are they going to end it? Did you think they were going to end it that way? The way it ended? With the hug?
The power
friendship.
Yeah.
Power friendship.
Care Bears there.
It would have sucked if they did.
Yeah, straight up anime ending.
Yeah, anime plot.
Yes.
This is different. This is not your typical Marvel ending. I was like, at least nobody major died.
It's like I'm here. It's okay.
I'm here. Yes, you know what it made me
Yeah.
think of? As soon as I saw it, it reminded me of One Piece. If you go through it, Luffy and the gang.
Nami when
Yes.
Yep.
I didn't want to spoil anything, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. Watch it. It's a great show. You can watch it and actually find out the filler episodes and skip those, and you'll be Gucci. But there's a scene that happens early in the show where all Luffy does is walk up and puts his hand on Nami, who's crying, and like, I got you, I got us. And that's a friendship. Like, I'll ride or die for you. And if you're not a fan of Luffy and the gang by then, you ain't got no soul, brother. You might as well have to ask for admittance to come back into the room after you leave, because you're not from this plane. I'm just saying. I thought it was going to go somewhere different. I'm not mad at it, but I am, though.
I mean, it's real, though, because sometimes you just need someone to say, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real, like, because, like just somebody that does, like, never really had anybody, and then you just run into these people that just say, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all he really needed to hear. And like, he's good. Like, I know that now. So, but yeah. I mean, it was another was it Talk No Jutsu ending? Just what's
this movie is brought to you by anime.
Right? But just like, but like what else could they have done? Like the Void, like against the Void, you got these normal level heroes. What else can you do?
And you couldn't. I mean, I agree. Like, I thought in my head when the credits were rolling that gap, I was like, man, like, you would have needed 2 movies to really show his strength, and then deal with the Void in the second one. And then the connection with the characters would have been so much more meaningful. But you didn't have that time for this movie, for this budget. So when you saw the Agatha show that was on Disney Plus, they do that as well, go through these different dimensions and work on stuff in their past. But you got a chance to see each person's journey to get to the other side. This, you only really had 2 characters. You had Bob and you had the main character go through these journeys, and only a glimpse for the other ones. I thought the thing that was so telling and so pressing, again, going with mental health, was there are people who walk around and they seem fully functioning. They're reading a book, they're chilling in their quiet spot, they're antisocial a little bit, or maybe they're the talk of the town, and they're going through something, and that darkness, that void is always following them. And like he said, he's like, I have my good days where I got this. Then I have my days where I don't got this. And I think a lot of us, whether celebrities or friends, family members, coworkers, we find out that they're dealing with that void, that darkness, that cloud that goes over them. And so, like Corey was saying, sometimes that's all you need is somebody say, I see you, I hear you. You're not alone. Give me a call. Let's go for a drink. Let's go for a walk around the block, whatever the case is. So I thought it was an interesting way that was completely different from what we're used to with Marvel. And that's how they chose to kind of wrap that climatic scene up. Now, at that point, you go outside and the gang's out there, and there's some key moments that makes them to the public seem like they're the next ones. They're the heroes. They fix this, all this other stuff, only to come out of this kind of curtain and be revealed to the world, similar to Iron Man and Spider-Man, revealed to the world that this is your new hero. What'd you guys think about Valentina going ahead and bringing the guys out?
I got what is it, when the carpet gets swept right under you? I was just like, wait. Because I thought it was like a construction thing. I thought she was going to try to escape. And then she's like, wait, hold up. And then she's going to like be in this helicopter on the other side. And I wasn't expecting all those people to be on the other side too. So, and then her announcement, I was just like, oh, makes sense. But
yeah. And then Bob's to there clapping. I'm like, Bob, I'm saying in the theater, like, Bob, they're talking about you too, Bob. You're part of it. And Bob's like,
Bob was part of it, right?
But he doesn't know that. He was sitting there clapping on the side, like looking at them like, I'm proud of y'all. Y'all got to promote.
She knows in order for her to control Bob, she needs everybody else. Bob is a package deal now.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, but if he turns into Sentry, then Void is there too. It's like that real thin line.
Yep, he said that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like
he's like, I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah,
but then, so you see what you just brought up there. So
he seemed aggravated.
No.
He wouldn't even talk to words. He was sound effect. But
no, because you brought up, Corey brought up because there's a thin line between the void and you brought up that when he was clapping because he doesn't remember what happened.
Nope.
But at the end, he remembers like.
But he said that. He said it comes and goes. Sometimes he remembers it.
No, he didn't remember what happened.
Yeah.
At that moment,
so
I'm sure
how did he remember about the void and Sentry if he didn't remember what happened? He was over
he
there
just
clapping
says, he said it. He's like, I have my good days and my bad days, and then after all of that, it's all a little fuzzy. So I just feel like because it's like I don't know if you've ever been very high energy and then you're so low after that. Like when you have a lot of coffee and sugar, your energy is up, and then it goes down. Then you're all the way down low. You're tired. And then after you're like, damn, like but I don't know about me. Then I'm like, my brain is all messed up. Like, all right, like I'm kind of I have brain fog, so I kind of get it. Like
you talking about like memory. I'm talking about his memory. What you talking about? Like
no, I'm saying his memory. Like it's all like it's more of the mental health aspect. Like he has his good days, mental health, and bad days. Like maybe like it's kind of like bipolar disorder. People with that probably are very manic, and then they're very normal, and then they have a lot of brain fog in that process because it's kind of like, in the sense of being two different people, you're not going to remember, but it'll come and go, and I'm sure they catch him up on what happened. Like they have plenty of time.
I'll tell you this. For the longest time, I was waiting for them to talk about that fucking hand that was outside of the planet. And they did I don't know how many movies.
And the hand just
explaining it, and it was pissing me off.
Oh, the Eternals.
I had to just let it go.
Let it go.
Don't logic out the window. So with this movie, him remembering that little piece, throw it out the window.
Throw it out the window.
Don't even think about it.
Because the other thing I thought about as well, because let me know if I'm wrong with the character, is this is a battle for him to teeter the line between the void and Sentry. He's always trying to make sure he's not gonna go over, and it's like early Hulk, where it's I want to be Hulk, but I can't. It's like Moon Knight, where it's tied into who they are as a person, and that goes through it. And so I just thought it was an interesting way for him to put it together, because much like Hulk, you can't have me without the other guy that's always there.
Yeah.
And so you kind of blur the line. So we'll see what they do when they set up with that. Now, at this point, the movie has been basically telling you, hey, look, we got these new Avengers, which sets up some other stuff. And is there anything before we go on the post credits? Is there anything left in the movie that you guys
to piggyback on what he said, like how it is, because wasn't it like a 14-month jump?
Yes.
So 14 months. It could have been an incident within those 14 months when he's trying to tap in the Sentry, but the void becomes a problem again. It could have been that.
Because they're obviously already fighting crime, saving the world, because at this point, and we'll just flow into it. At this point, we're at the end credits.
No, before you go. Okay, go. Because Corey brought up the hand part of the Celestial. I want to know, because they did bring it up in Captain America.
They did.
What I want to know, are they going to tie in whatever happened in New York with the Void in the following film? Because it seemed like it was a big event, because he shadowed the whole city of New York.
I feel like he's got to. Spider-Man out that way.
Are they gonna talk about that in the fall? Because they did that with the scroll, the Battle of New York, and a lot of things they bring up. So are they gonna do that with the Void? Or is
what? That's a good point.
Like how long was it that they were stuck in the Void?
True.
That's also a thing. And so it's just like, because when you're in a dream, things happen like that. So I don't know how long he actually had darkness over New York, where it's just like, oh yeah, we need to talk about this. But they probably did. I don't know. They probably will tie it in.
And the other thing is, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen. I would have preferred to happen was when they went through the curtain and she introduced them as the new adventurers, and Yelena was walking towards the mic. I thought she was going to be like, grab a mic, like, no, we're the Thunderbolts. But
yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Yeah. But I guess they're going to go ahead and get sued by Sam.
I mean that. So what Manny's talking about is like obviously it's a spoiler review, so you've seen it. There's two cut scenes. There's one where Red Guardian finally gets his face on the box of some Wheaties, and it's a little humorous thing. He's like, "Hey, that's me." He looks a little creepy. Like somebody's gonna go ahead and call a special number for him. But then you get into like a meteor cut scene that jumps 14 months in the future. They're clearly at this same spot that Tony and the rest of the guys used to call their home. They've got the cool technology, all this other stuff. And Bucky is still kind of not being a leader. We already know who the leader of the group is. He's kind of like being the vet in the locker room. He's doing everything that LeBron James won't do. He's doing all the stuff to help everybody else on the roster get better behind closed doors. Now, is there anything of that you guys saw that grabbed your attention? For me, humorously, was the Red Guardians sponsor shirt that had like Xbox and AMPM and the Critics Collective logo on there. I thought it was funny because I felt like it was a nod to Human Torch in 2007, 2008, the Fantastic Four, where he had sponsorships all over. So I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny to be like, hey, there's a legal situation, just add a Z to the end. Like how many times we try to make an account online and it's the account we want and we just change a number or a letter. But all right, it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it should have been like just me, like if they've been established for a while as a new Avenger. I feel like we should have seen at least one more new character added to the squad. That would have been cool. But yeah. We'll see what happens.
We might see it in this summer with Lionheart. We'll see if they're going to do anything that kind of puts together, because you still have Kamala out there in New York. She's still doing what she's doing, and she's tying into magic / space. You still have who's the one from might have been Puerto Rico that's out there. Miss America.
America.
Yeah. What's her name?
From my understanding. Because there was a rumor that Zemo was supposed to be part of that.
I thought so
team.
Too. Yep. I think that was early on. Yeah.
Yeah. With Valentina, knowing how she works, she's probably gonna add Zemo, and maybe later on Red Hulk. You will see.
Yeah. But they also working on Young Avengers as well. So. You got that.
Plus,
You have that. So you might have that segue there. Black Panther, they're recasting and some other stuff. You'll have that as well. But I don't know if this is going to be darker in this next phase, because going back to what you said about the Void in the comics, the Void kills, I think over 1 million people die because of the Void, the cause and effect that happens. Because remember when Great Value Captain America, sucks for it to be him because I don't see anybody calling him Cap, not my Cap. Matter of fact, it was in the news, like they were talking about like throwing shade at the Avengers, but remember he almost walked off the ledge because he was so into this dream. We don't see that cause and effect. So it's much like the hand in the ocean. We hope they tackle that later, but if it goes with the comics, if it goes with what they showed us, there are people that probably were driving or doing stuff and they were so consumed with their fears or their challenges that they lost their life. Again, having that same conversation with mental health. It's like you're just in that black cloud so much. And you're like, man, but you were just dancing. You were just cool. What just happened? It's like, oh, I was in the void. Yeah. And it's just what it is. So is there anything else that you guys that we might have missed, whether in the end credits or the full movie in general, anything that grabbed your attention?
I think once I think they're gonna officially change his name to U.S. Agent, because
I think so too.
He's not Captain America because Sam Wilson is. So I think they're probably going to do that later on. He's like, oh, I'll go by U.S. Agent now. But
which I thought they were going to kind of tease and set that right, but
and
what do you guys
like there's going to
next?
be a conflict as far as with Sam Wilson and what type of Avengers these guys are, which probably going to cause them to change the names and stuff, because it seemed like they're more of like the rated R team. You're gonna have the PG Avengers. I think that's what's probably gonna happen.
Might get another Civil War situation.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, as far as the rating, I mean, this was PG-13. I was hoping this was rated R, to be honest. Like it had themes of rated R, but it wasn't Daredevil rated R right now. It wasn't Invincible rated R type of thing. So that'll be interesting to see where they go with it.
I'm
All
surprised
right.
like a straight up shot in the head isn't rated R.
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said I was confused at the rating, but it's a different time.
Straight up murder
It's a
going
different
on in that
time.
movie.
Well, with that being said, we've already rated this. If you're curious about our rating, check that. We got other stuff that's out on the channel. Before we wrap it up, just try us for 3 minutes. If you lasted this long, bravo. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We'd greatly appreciate it. Anything else, guys, before we head out?
The last scene with the spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We're about to the 4. Okay, so at some point, Bucky tells her to check the system to check this, bring up visuals and all this other stuff. Was kind of funny. Then you see the spaceship, they zoom in and you get that distinctive logo. You also have the theme that's playing in the background for Fantastic Four. And then that's your tease that you get. How'd you guys feel about that? Because for me, I felt, like I said before, the power scale is being adjusted. Space is coming into it more. Magic is right there. And you got this is the next, probably the biggest movie that they have on the phase as of right now for information they've showed us.
And I think I heard dimension from the computer. So it's I think there's a lot that's going to happen as far as the aspect, because how they brought back Robert Downey Jr. He's probably from another dimension, and that's why he's Dr. Doom. So they're hinting that. So we'll see what happened with that, and with Secret Wars too. It's probably going to be a bunch of different worlds colliding, and I'm expecting a. Hopefully,
All right,
got my fingers crossed for this phase.
Are you guys excited about Fantastic Four? Did that little scene do anything for you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Every time the preview come down, I'm like this.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see nothing.
I didn't see any preview with this one.
Yeah.
Same thing with Superman. I don't watch previews, especially if it's like sci-fi superhero stuff, because they be giving to what I watched the trailer for this today after the movie, and that gave away way too much. Like, honestly,
really?
Thunderbolts?
If you watch Thunderbolt, there's like 2 or 3. I felt like they did.
I only saw the first one though, and then
I
thought it was gonna
one,
be
a D23.
See, I thought it was gonna be Bucky getting recruiting all of them. So it was completely different from what I thought it was gonna be.
All right. Well, you could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here and watch us talk about this movie. Let us know in the comments how you felt about this movie. Again, until next time, Kalika out.